Fantastic to have you in London. Can you start by telling us a little bit about working with your gorgeous co-stars and, of course, Paul yet again?
Listen, everybody I worked with was so dreamy, and every day was not a very serious set. I can assure you that. And Paul Feig, it's like I'm the luckiest person in the world that, you know, I've done 3 with him, and I'm about to do the 4th. You know what? She's a much more timid character at first. I think she's a woman that's been a little undervalued and underestimated. And I love that within the movie we really get to see her come into her own and become a more confident person. And I think that's really fun to play.
What can fans expect from the film overall?
I think they're going to get a lot of surprises. I think performances are going to surprise them. I don't think people are expecting this much comedy with a true spy action movie, and I don't think it disappoints on any level. So
I play a CIA agent with Melissa in the basement of the CIA with Melissa, and I guess for all intents and purposes I'm sort of Jason Statham's secretary. But pretty early on he decides to do his own thing, so I don't have too much work to do in this movie. I kind of got the movie off.
Did you get to meet the man himself, or was he just shouting at you over a phone?
We didn't. Maybe we had one scene together. We didn't have any scenes together, but we were on set together. And he's a great guy and a lot of fun and very funny in this movie. You guys should be proud to call him your countryman. That's what I'll say. I think Paul's just a fan of female comedians, you know? I think there's a lot that's been made of that, and I think it's a tricky line because when you qualify something by labeling it, you make it sound like it's not part of the whole. I think I would challenge anyone to say that Melissa isn't the funniest actor working right now, never mind actress, or funniest comedian, never mind comedian. And so I think Paul is just a real champion of what he finds funny, and he's been really, really generous and lovely, and has produced a couple of things that I've done. He produced Ron and Beverly, a show I did over here on Sky Atlantic, and he's had me in The Heat and had me in this and that, and he's a really loyal fan. When he finds somebody he likes to work with, he tries to collaborate with them again. So
you're going to chat to him about finding a place for you in Ghostbusters?
It may have come up. We don't have an answer yet. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Yeah. I would hang out in a dank, dark, wet, stinky basement with Melissa anytime. She's the best. She's a pleasure to work with. She's the nicest lady you'll ever meet, and she's funny as shit. You know, I think the thing that's different about this movie is that her character goes through a really big transition, so you'll get those same kind of, like, the stuff that you've come to expect from her, those great, like, exciting exchanges, but also she's really such a good actress, and I think it really comes through in this part. Like, she's really tender and awesome and vulnerable. She's terrific. She almost made me cry on set a couple of times, and I was like, this is strange that I should be affected by your acting as I'm watching it on like from the, it's very strange. It usually takes a dark theater to get me going, or an airplane, but yeah.
Start by telling us what it was like working with Rose and Melissa.
Oh my goodness, loads of fun, constantly laughing, and just a good time.
Tell us a little bit about your character and where she fits in, because it's safe to say she's a bit of a baddie.
Yes, she's a baddie, and she's just out there to kick some butt, you know, and she does a good job of it. So yeah, I'm just, I guess, a hot villain.
You get to square off against Melissa's character. Can you talk about filming that fight scene and how tough an opponent Melissa is?
Yeah, she was tough. I have to tell you, she was a tough one. I had rehearsal time, but unfortunately, when you're shooting, things go a bit, off, and people make mistakes, and I got a little bit hurt. So.
How badly hurt? Can you tell us exactly what went wrong?
Well, I had a nice bump on my head from that frying pan. Yes, and my knuckles were like beat up a bit, and I think I hurt my ankle because I kicked something that I wasn't supposed to. So.
Paul's a fantastic director. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to work with him?
Oh my God, it was a dream come true to work with Paul Feig. He is an amazing director, amazing writer, and an amazing human being. So easy to work with.
Why do you think he seems to particularly have this knack of female-led comedy?
Oh, I don't know why, but I'm so happy that he does, because that's freaking awesome, and it's about time.
Start by telling us a bit about working with Melissa on this one and how relieved you are to have her back on board for Ghostbusters as well.
You know, Melissa is what would they call in Hollywood money in the bank. She always delivers the goods. She's always so great. We have such a great collaboration. We laugh on the set constantly. And she cares like I do about creating three-dimensional, emotionally real characters. Even though they're being funny, they're not silly, and, you know, that we really kind of ground everything.
Where did your idea for this script first originate?
I've always wanted to do a spy movie and had years where I was like, I wish somebody let me make a Bond movie. And then when I started being able to make movies with funny women, I was like, well, wait, let me write my own, and then I can put one of the funny women that I know in it and all the other funny women that I know. And so it just kind of came right out of me, and I was couldn't write it fast enough. She does about 90% of her stunts. Yeah, it's crazy. Like at the point where I would have to go like, you don't have to do all those things, you know. And she. We have the same sense of humor, and we really just have fun working together. And also, she just grounds the material in such a way that she makes it real, and yet you're still laughing. I definitely had to Statham in mind when I wrote it, just because I love Jason. I've been a fan of his forever. And when I saw the Crank movies, I was like, okay, he's funny. I got to get him in something that's dedicatedly funny. And so, yeah, he just delivered the goods, as you saw.
Has taking on a big genre comedy like this given you a bit more confidence for tackling something as iconic as a Ghostbusters remake?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Look, I mean, you always go into a project nervously, but if you didn't have the nerves, you wouldn't take it seriously enough. And so we did so much action, so many stunts on this that I really felt like I wanted to take on an even bigger thing.